Your mind drift away. ปิดไมค์หน่อยครับ The mindfulness is the one that can recognize, for example, the body. It's one thing. The body is moving. Keep on knowing. Just knowing, not focusing or looking, staring at. Staring at is different from knowing. Knowing is like just sensing the existence of the body and mind. If you're staring at it or looking at it, it comes from greed. You want to be good, great. So you keep staring at it or looking at it. The more you staring at it, it wouldn't give rise to any mindfulness or wisdom because the mind is tight and condensed. Try to train your mindfulness. The mindfulness is actually non-self. You cannot command it to happen. And you have to do the contributory factors of the mindfulness. What's the contributory factors of the mindfulness? It is from the fact that the mind can firmly recognize the phenomena. For example, the body that breathing out or in, if it can firmly recognize them, or the body that's lying down, walking, sitting, or moving or still, happiness and happiness arising within the body, or the happiness and happiness or indifference arises within the mind. Or if there's any greed, aversion, delusion arise within the mind. If there are any particular phenomena that the mind can firmly recognize arises, then the mindfulness can arise in all such cases. So how could we firmly recognize the phenomena? We need to see the phenomena more often, as much as you can. Just like when we see someone's face, if you see them very often, you can vividly remember them. But if you haven't met some of your relatives for 10 or 20 years, but you can recognize them when met again. So in order to firmly recognize the phenomena, it's because you are often see those phenomena. And so we come to train to see the phenomena as often as we can. The most caused phenomena is the body. And then more subtle is the feelings of sensation of the happiness and happiness. And then more subtler is unwholesomeness and wholesomeness. Keep on learning them. Some people, they've been practicing and they have high spiritual faculties. Whenever they observe the phenomena, they can observe them directly to see the dependent origination. But for the rest of us, it's not going to happen because in order to see those things, it's in the level of the Bodhisattva or Lord Buddha or the Buddha. We can learn from the things that we can know. For example, the body. We can know the body for the rest of us, whether it's the body's happiness is subject to happiness or unhappiness, or whether the mind is happy and unhappy or indifferent. We can know these feelings. These are the things that easily to be observed. So we started from something easy first. So the principle of Sipatthana is to gain the mindfulness in the beginning and gain the wisdom at the end. This is when we walk the path of four foundations of mindfulness. That the very first thing to do, the four foundations of mindfulness, is the object of meditation. The mind needs to have the object of meditation. Without it, the mind will keep on wandering away. It's very difficult to observe phenomena if you mind wander off, because you forget about the body and mind, keep wandering away. Therefore, we need to train the mind to have the home base. The mind shouldn't be wandering all the time. So the principle of the four patterns of mindfulness, the very first thing is to have the home base for the mind, or to have the object of meditation. Object of meditation is actually the residence, is the dwellings of the mind, for the mind to dwell on. For example, the body can be used as a home base or object of meditation. It's very easy. The mind is more difficult because the mind keep on wandering very swiftly. The mind never wander away. It just asks that wander off from the body, wander away to other places. So initially we can observe, we can sensing the body. For example, the body breathing out, the breathing in, or observing the body that is standing, walking, lying down. Keep on sensing these within our body. Or the body moves or staying still. Keep on being aware of this body. These three of the limitations in terms of body regarding to the four foundations of mindfulness, the anapanasati or mindful breathing is the most delicate or subtle one, because our breath changes swiftly. And the mindful breathing is the meditation object that is difficult to achieve. It's very difficult. It's not something easy at all. And there's a lot of complexities to it. You can use it as a smart practice or vipassana or insight practice. You can gain the momentarily samadhi from it, or access level of samadhi, or absorption level of samadhi from these meditation objects. Or you can do like kasina as well. So there are a lot of chances you will falter and make mistakes, because there are a lot of diversions and a lot of intersections. Some of the masters, like Abhidhamma teacher, they taught that anapanasati or mindful breathing is for the great person. But if we're not a great beings, then we can use something that easier than mindful breathing. The mindful breathing, once you get to access level of samadhi, that will produce some nimit or vision, which will be a lot more difficult to fix after later on. So we can use the four postures instead. It's easy to observe. For example, you're sitting, you're sensing that. Walking, you're aware of it. You lying down, you're aware of it. But the drawback that each time that we dwell on each posture takes a lot of time. For example, sitting for long for now, it's a lot easier to become lazy on observing the body sitting for now. The other one that feel more suitable and not too subtle like mindful breathing or too coarse like full postures is actually to be aware of the body moving and staying still. We keep on moving on and on. Sometimes we move here, move there, be aware of those movements. If you, this is actually discernment part. Discernment subcategory. When you're moving and still keep on knowing it. But I would suggest that if you want to use this one, you need to move naturally. If you moved in a repetitive patterns, for example, moving like this, like that, or moving like this repetitively, then you'll drift away very easily. And it's a lot of chance that you make mistakes by overcasting it. Like the disciple of Luangpu Tian, I'm not looking down on him. He's a very good monk. The disciple moving their hands like this, and they are focusing on the hand. The mind flow towards the hand, and they couldn't see them. They couldn't see it. Or some people observe rising and falling of abdomen, and they observe the body moving and still. It's not wrong, but the, when you are wrong because you're making mistakes. For example, if your abdomen rising and falling, and you do not sending mind out to all focus on the abdomen rising and falling. Just feel, being aware of the movement, whether you use the walking meditations, observing the body movement, or whether the body is sitting, you can observe the abdomen rising and falling. If the hands move, then you can observe them, be aware of it as well. Some people can move very correctly, but the mind wander off to think of other things all the time. So moving repetitively has some weakness. So each of the implementations that I give examples, each home base has both strengths and weaknesses. Mindful breathing or anapanasati is very subtle. This is very, this is the strength. It's a benefit, but the drawback is that you easily to falter to making mistakes if your mindfulness is not good enough. For postures, it's easier to observe, but the drawbacks are that it takes time. The mind will become distracted and will become wandering away very easily, and you can observe them. And the movements and still, it doesn't change much, and it wasn't too swift, and it wasn't too long. And the drawback is if you have intentions to do this repeatedly, then your mind wandering away because you're moving automatically without knowing. Anyone's walking and wandering off, we walk when till we custom it, but the mind wandering away. Likewise, moving in repetitive pattern, it's weakness because your mind will wander off very easily. So observe yourself. Each object meditation has some strengths and weaknesses. So trying to choose wisely which one is appropriate for you. For me, for example, I used mindful breathing since I was young. Mindful breathing is or anapanasati is as appropriate for me. My mind is relaxed and calm. If I want to make my mind stable, I can do that so too, or make it calm as well. But there's a lot of tricks and tactics. Like anapanasati can be used as a kasina as well. For example, seeing the wind elements, air elements in through the nostril. If you observe the nostril itself, it's become the emptiness, is agat, kasina, the air kasina. If you observe the heat of the breath is actually the fire kasina. If you keep up doing it, then it will become light, and that's the light kasina. It's very difficult to do. So try to do something easy, like nodding. You see that a lot of people nodding, but you can see it. You see that you're nodding and you understood it, but you don't know that your body is nodding. Some people smiling. They don't realize that their bodies is smiling because they giggle, so they couldn't be aware. So just trying to be aware. This is when you use the body as your object of meditation. This is the discernment subcategory, moving and still become aware of them. Once your mind has the home base, and you have to settle and grasp the principle of Dhamma practice is not for aiming for the calmness or goodness. We're aiming for one thing, is to cleanse all defilements from our heart. We want to eradicate all the defilements from our heart. So when we meditate on an object, we don't want to define eye, divine ears, or penetrating other people's mind, knowing other people's mind, or we don't want to know which beings will born or die, where we only practice Dhamma to get rid of the defilements and prosper the wholesomeness. This is the framework that we'll follow. Do not avert from this. If you keep on, if you aim for having special abilities, knowing different things, that when you are taking a detour from the path of Lord Buddha paved for us. So this path is actually for us to eradicate defilements and burn all defilements from our heart. In order to destroy the defilements within our heart, the very first thing is to become self-aware. Self-awareness is a must. Once you have self-awareness, you have to have mindfulness to see the changes and movements of the object of meditation, for example, the body moving or the mind moving and changing. There's one important trick that other people who just learn through the books and don't understand, or a lot of Dharma practitioners couldn't understand, is, for example, when you observe the body, they don't see that the mind standing out to focus on the body or the mind. Therefore, we cannot ignore the mind while meditating. Who knows the body movement? Who knows the body breathing? Who knows that the body lying down, walking, sitting down? Who knows that there are happiness and happiness arising within the body, or arising within different arising within the mind? Who knows that a great aversion delusion arises within the mind? Who knows that non-greed, non-aversion, or non-delusion arises with the mind? There must be a person who knows this. For example, if we observe the body. When we observe the body, we don't just focus on the body. There need to be the mind that knows the body. The mind is the one that is the knower to observe all physical and mental parts, whether even if it is nibbana, there will be a mind to observe it. So to meditate on the body, when we will cultivate the full foundation of mindfulness regarding to the body, we need to have the knowing mind to see, to observe the body movement. Some of the Dharma teachers said that you observe the body, the rupa movement, and with the mind that knows, not just seeing the movement of the body, because the mind will disappear, the mind will submerge into the object. The mind needs to be the knower. Before achieving the knowing mind, how could we give rise to this knower mind? It can be arising from two ways. This is from my own experience. I couldn't see anywhere in the text. There must be other ways as well, but I can only could see these two ways. The first one is to be derived from meditating and till we can let go of the object limitations, and it will convert to, and it will replace back to its knowing mind. This is called ego tipava in Bali. It's the unification state of mind. This kind of state of mind, for those who didn't practice Dhamma, they think that it's actually the samadhi. But actually, samadhi arises from the first jhana already. But ego power or the unification of the mind actually arises within the second jhana. It is actually the awakened state, the mind that is stable, becoming knower. We could see things, objects arising and falling away, changing. The mind that is stable and knowing is like the sun. The sun has the light all day and night. But why sometimes there's no light? Because the clouds cover the light. So the knowing mind is like the sun. You can see all the defilements and objects arise, coming and fading. If you on the ground, you will see that the sun is covered and it's dark. But actually, if you with the sun, you could see that you could see the clouds. There's no dimming of the light of the sun. When the knowing mind is like the sun that is above and see all the clouds. The clouds are actually all the conditioned formations arising and falling away. The mind is the one that becomes knowing and stable, bright and light. How could we achieve this kind of mind? I have actually taught you for many times. The first thing that I taught is when the mindfulness arises from the mind that firmly recognizes the phenomena, but the stable mind arises from the mindfulness as well. So if you have the right mindfulness, it will give rise to morality, samadhi, and wisdom. So mindfulness is a big deal. So we keep on cultivating full foundation of mindfulness without forcing our mind, controlling our mind. For the movement, no so. Once the mind wander off, no so. If you keep on moving and no so, moving and no so, then you wander off for a short period of time, because the lost mind will fall away and the mind will become awakened again. At the moment that the mind becomes awakened, it will give rise to the right samadhi for a moment. So through the right mindfulness, to be aware of the phenomena at the present moment, the right samadhi will arise automatically. For example, Luangpu Dun taught me to observe my mind. So I observe the mental parts, not the physical parts. So anyone who observe the mental parts can do so, then do so. It's okay. But for me, I'm angry nature. I'm angry nature. Sometimes I don't angry at anyone, but most of the time it's irritation happens. Mild irritations. For example, anyone should talk to me for more than 5 minutes, I become irritated. But for nowadays, if it's more than half a minute, then I become irritated. Start to become irritated. Actually, when you come to learn the Dhamma practice, do not talk a lot because it wastes your samadhi. I actually told one of the monks that cleaning my windows, you just see that when I finished from the Dhamma hall, I came back to my dwellings and I isolated myself. I lived in solitude. I don't talk much because otherwise the samadhi will fall if you mingle with other people a lot. So I try to be with the object meditation. As much as I can, I use my mind as object meditation. Whenever the mind is angry, I know so. So I recognize when the mind is angry and not angry. Whenever there's even mild irritation happens, I become aware of it. So every time that we see the mind that is angry, the angry mind will fall away, and the mind will give rise to the stable mind. The stable mind is the one that have the right samadhi. We don't command it to happen. It is impossible. We cannot fabricate it to happen as well. Through the mindfulness that recognize the phenomena at the present time, it will be rising. Every time that the mind can correctly acknowledge the phenomena, it gives rise to the right stable mind. So whenever the right mindfulness happens, the right samadhi will arise altogether all the time. The right mindfulness is actually the full pattern of mindfulness to be aware of the body and mind. So meditate on objects that you like. A lot of masters said that drifting away and also drifting away is one of the phenomena. For example, we chanting Buddha, Buddha, and the mind drift away, and you know so. Breathing food without the mind drift away, and know so. These when you use the mind as a meditation. When the mind wander off, know so. Wander off, know so again. Once, and then after a while, when your mind wander off, the mindfulness will kick in and be aware of it, and the lost mind will fall away, and the mind will become stable automatically because the lost mind and knowing mind is the opposite sides, like lightness and darkness. So we don't need to create light. Our, our job is to fight against the defilements, which is the darkness. The lost is the evil one. When you be aware of it, then the mind will become at light again. So we don't need to create light, just not become dark, and then it will be light. So I practice like this. I observed my defilements when I was initially practicing, observing the anger, aversion. Once I could see aversion, I could see other kind of defilement as well. At first, you might start from observing one phenomenon first. One phenomenon, for example, the mind with one of my if the mind is angry, no so angry and no so, then we can knowing other phenomena, for example, the mind is greedy. So when you're meditating on an object, the mind will wander off by two ways. The first one is when you forget about the object limitations and think of other things. The other one is when you wander off to focus on the object. There are two types of wandering. So each of them has their own details. Through your own experience, learning through your experience that might not be described in the text because these are very details. So when you use the object, the body as object limitation, at first the body moves and also moves again, also again. Once you drift away, you forget about the body. Once the body moves, and the mindfulness will arise, because the mindfulness arises from the mind that firmly recognize the phenomena. For example, the body movement. The body moves and also, and one day if you lack of mindfulness, you wander off to other things, and then one day the mindfulness will arise automatically on its own. I start from observing the mental parts, but then when I observing other school of practices, they use the body. For example, Luangpu Tian style school of practice, he taught his disciples to move, but Luangpu Tian moves and can become aware, can have developed mindfulness. But for disciples, some of the disciples keep on thinking, what's the next move? The other group, they have good pattern of moving, but they think of other things. They don't have the mindfulness. He want his disciple to move in order to produce mindfulness, not just to become spectacular. These are actually it's the principle. But I could see that there's some weakness. If you do it repeatedly, then the mind will wander off very easily, because you keep doing it till it become automatic. It seems beautiful, but then the mind wander off. That's why I come to tell you that you just move in natural way, because it's not repetitive. It was changed like the here's and there. they'll move here, and just now I move there, and then move here. Then it keep on changing, just moving and just being aware of them. These, when I told you that to observe the bodily movements, I observed from my own experience that if you keep on repeatedly moving in pattern, they will become easy to drift away. I observed Luangpo Tian for a short period of time, but I can do it. I keep on doing it, and after a while, I become irritated because I'm easy angered, and so 14 patterns is too much, too many, and then I move like this. If I move like this, it's too painful. Then I use like this. Just this movement from 14 movement patterns, I just do this, and then one day I do this for like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not sure. It's more than 10 years. It's a very long time ago. I saw one of my friends that I haven't met for a long period of time walking across the street, and I was so happy to see. I'm glad to see him. Lack of mindfulness. I walk left. I look left and right on the roads to see the cars. I don't have the mindfulness yet, but once my feet about to cross the step, then the mindfulness kicks in. I just realized that um, become lost all the time. Then I developed the state mindfulness. I started from training, moving my hands, but in and actual situations, just moving my leg, it just gives rise to mindfulness automatically. So can use the upper body as the body movement or still, it's all good. But I become aware of them, not just forcing or focusing or becoming stressing out, just moving in a natural way. But there's another weakness as well because you're used to it. You're used to being drifted away just for, for a short period of time, then you drift away. So each of the optimizations has some weakness and challenges. So just try to pick up the strength of it. You know that it will just keep on moving and it will drift away very easily. So you increase the intention to become aware so that when you move and know so as soon as you moving without intention and becoming aware without intentions, you become aware automatically. The mind that drift away will fall away, and the awakened mind will arise. So every time when you cultivate the mindfulness, co-founders of mindfulness, once the right mindfulness arises, then the right samadhi will rise altogether. So when you moving and drift away and also drift away and again also again, that's when you observe the knowing drifting away and also drifting away and also you moving and you moving here and there and just become self-aware, um, moving and be aware. At some point, once the body moves and the automatic mindfulness arises, it will give rise to the automatic samadhi as well. Once the automatic mindfulness arise more often, then the right automatic samadhi will become more often as well. This is when the mind gains some strength and the mind have become stable and ready for wisdom cultivation. So at the beginning, when you do the preparation of mindfulness, you do in order to develop the mindfulness. When the right mindfulness arises, then it gives rise to the right samadhi as well. Once you have the right samadhi, the mind is stable and strong and have some strength, then you can cultivate wisdom further on. For them, when the mind have some strength, energy, and stable, you can see that the body and mind are two different things. You see that the body is not us, it doesn't belong to us. You see that even the mind is impermanent. Sometimes it's knower, sometimes it's lost, sometimes it's overcasting. That's foundation regarding to the body. You can observe all these things. Without the mind, you cannot practice at all. Without the mind, you're like the tree. The tree cannot uh, cannot be liberated. So we do not have the right samadhi. You have to train on the right mindfulness. When I meditate, I would suggest very easily like moving and be aware, moving and be aware. If a mosquito come, if you don't have the mindfulness, then you slap it. But if you have the mindfulness, then you just uh, let it go. The first thing that you get is the mindfulness. When I move, then I can be mindful. When I lie down, if it's painful, I can be aware. The body turn here and there. It's become aware as well. Because the mindfulness become automatic on and on. Once you have the automatic mindfulness, you can see derive it from seeing the phenomena more often, more on and on, give rise to the mindfulness. Once you have the mindfulness without intention, it's become automatic. The right samadhi will rise as well. Once you have the right mindfulness, you keep on cultivating full foundation of mindfulness. If your mind is stable, when the mindfulness recognizes the body movement, the wisdom will rise. You can see that the body is not us. The body is subject to impermanent suffering and non-self. If the mind is stable, you can see the feelings, for example, pains within the body. You can see that the pain in the body is not us. It's actually infiltrated within the mind, and it's not for the body itself as well. It's just something that comes to the mind, comes to the body. Or you see happiness and happiness in different within the mind. You see, while having the stable mind, you see that these feelings uh, with with the mindfulness to be aware whether now is happiness and or unhappiness, and it give rise to the wisdom to see that these unhappiness are impermanent suffering and non-self. Without the stable mind or without the right samadhi, you couldn't give rise to the wisdom. When you do a lot of right mindfulness, right samadhi, when you do a lot of right mindfulness, you give rise to right samadhi. You become self-aware without doing sitting meditations. The mind will be stable in this world like that. When you have the right samadhi strong enough, then you cultivate a lot of right samadhi will give rise to the right wisdom. So the right wisdom is the proximate cause of the right samadhi. Only the right mindfulness is not enough. You have to have the right samadhi to, and recognize the body. You see the body is not us. Or if the mind is stable, you can see that the feelings are three characteristics, not us. When you see, if your mind is stable, you can see that wholesomeness and wholesomeness are three characteristics, are not us. And if with the stable mind, sometimes it's stable, sometimes it's lost, sometimes it's stable, sometimes it's lost. You see that even the stable mind is at under three characteristics that are not us. These are when you cultivate wisdom, you see that by seeing the three characteristics, if we can detach the wrong view of having a self. So to give rise to wisdom, you need to cultivate and improve your mindfulness from recognizing the phenomena more often and give rise to the mindfulness. Once the mindfulness arises without intentions, then the right samadhi will arise altogether. It will become more often. When you have the right mindfulness, you become aware of the body and mind. Meditation objects, when it happens from more often, then the right mindfulness becomes, the right samadhi will be strong enough to give rise to right wisdom. When you have if your mind is stable, because when your mindfulness recognizing particular phenomena, you will see the three characteristics as they really are. The mind will be detached, and it returns the mind itself to the world, and the mind will comes to the liberation. So to cultivate the full foundation mindfulness, at the beginning you will get the right mindfulness. there will be the word right as well, because some of the people who learn in the text said that there shouldn't be the word right in front of the mindfulness because mindfulness is good all the time. But actually, the Buddha said that the mindfulness is it it's different from the right mindfulness in four patterns of mindfulness. When if you just recognize, for example, you see the the monks comes to walking arms and the mind is wholesome, but you can see it at that moment. You see that that's the monks. The mind is outside. You want to find some food for the monks. The mind is with the monks. You didn't know that. The right samadhi is rise from the right mindfulness, being aware of the body and mind. So the mindfulness need to have the word right in front of it. So it's correct. Some people said that it shouldn't be right in front of the mindfulness. The mindfulness is good in all such cases. That is actually good, but there are different grade, different quality to it. And they said that the right samadhi is requires the word right because there are wrong kind of samadhi as well. For example, some people have like very concentration, for example, try to do assassination, they need some concentration, some samadhi. So likewise, the right mindfulness is one thing, and the other common mindfulness is another thing. The right mindfulness is described in the four patterns of the mindfulness only. If you keep on cultivating the right mindfulness, then it will become automatic. The right samadhi will arise and become stronger and stronger. Actually, the right mindfulness, whenever the right mindfulness happens, it will give rise to right samadhi. But if you still have the intentions to produce this mindfulness, then it will just meddle with the greed. This kind of mindfulness is not good enough. There must be a pure mindfulness that without any defilements. So that is usable. It's workable. So for fathers, then will at the beginning will give rise to the mindfulness and then the wisdom at the end, and the ultimate is the liberation. So that's why the four fathers of the mindfulness is the only path to for liberation. So if you want to achieve liberation and nibbana, but you ignore the four foundations of mindfulness, then that's not good. But if you do four foundations in theory, but you never take action to practice, that's not good as well, because you can fight against defilements. Uh, on the contrary, you might develop a lot of conceitedness and defilements. You know everything, but not yourself. So that should be all for today. Just have a little break to drink some tea and hot water. I'm getting old now. Number one. In formal meditation and walking meditations, by observing the body moves, the mind likes to wander off very easily, like in a difficult way to observe, and also submerge into an object and where the mind become awakened and observe the mind that wander off again. Sometimes overcasting. In daily life, I observe the body and mind. Most of the time, it's aversion that I can you and kindly advise. keep on doing it. You're doing correctly. But now the mind is off the base. Can you see that? The mind is outside a little bit. The mind is outside, it's not come back to yourself. You're not control it. You're not trying to force it to happen. Just think of the spine. Think of the neck bone. Just think of it, not control or focusing it. Now and just now it's different. You see that? You see that the feelings now and just now, it's different. If you can tell the difference, then you keep on doing. If your mind is not at this, then the right samadhi is not enough. The strength of the samadhi is not enough. The mind is outside. No, it's correct. You recognize it and you memorize it, and you cannot create it to make it happen. Just keep on cultivating mindfulness, then it will give rise to this particular state. So what I told you is just try to fix temporarily, but the things that would help your mind stable is that mindfulness. Number 2.
เบอร์2 ทำรูปแบบ30นาทีถึง2ชั่วโมง
I do formal meditation for half an hour and 2 hours. By walking meditations, running and moving my body, and sitting meditation as well. Once if the mind can feel anything, I just observe the body. If the body moves and I become aware and I give rise to the feelings, greedy aversions, conceitedness, and drifting away till the mind could recognize the phenomena. The mind is like the lost mind because it wants to be good. See the mind is impermanence and non-self more than suffering. It's correct. You practice correctly. Keep on continue doing so. There's nothing wrong to it. You observe the mind. You observe the impermanence and non-self. That's correct. Number 3.
เบอร์3 ทำในรูปแบบช่วงเช้า
Do formal meditations in the morning for about 2 hours or 3 hours a day. I use the walking meditations and taking turn with sitting meditation. The mind starts to gain some strength, and I could see wanting to be good and want to practice. Back then, I have a lot of aversion and greed, but nowadays it's getting relieved, getting elevated, and I can have more of the mindfulness. I'm not sure whether I'm stuck in the samadhi. Luangpu said that you don't stuck in samadhi. You're practicing correctly. Continue practicing. Number 4.
เบอร์4 ภาวนาในรูปแบบสม่ำเสมอ
I practice in form meditation consistently. I use the breath as an object meditation. I want to be in the presence with the things that I do. I often see the mind drift away and become self-aware. I could see the drift away and knowing so more often. In daily life, I could see my own demeanors and think badly towards other people, and just got better of me, and I start again and again and again, and I keep on doing. I become more happy since I will start practicing Dhamma. Luangpu said that keep on doing so. Continue practicing. You're doing correctly. Number 5.
เบอร์5 ยังรู้สึกตัวไม่เป็น
I don't know how to become self-aware.
ยังยอมรับ
I'd like to protect myself. I can accept the truth. I'm afraid, and I can see the defilements. I see the demeanor of myself running away from things. I don't want to observe things. But once I with the breath and become relaxed and calm, I try to be with the things that I do or the movements and still. But I like it to go away and drift away. I like to become want to liberate it and get away from suffering. Can you give me a suggestion? Luangpu said that you have to be patient. You have to be strong. If you like to become, if you like doing want to just be good, happy, and being patient is different things. If your mind want to have courage, then you can fight against all things, against all the odds. You see that the mind is outside a little bit. Now it's your weakness. I didn't say that because I wanted to get out first. Number 5, hang in there. Stay strong. You are greedy nature, so observe the body as much as possible. You see that the body is subject to not good and suppressed by the pain all the time. Number 6,
เบอร์หกจิตรวม3 ครั้งเกิดความ
the
ไม่แน่ใจ
mind
ใน
converse 3
สภาวะ
times
ธรร
and
ม
I'm
เห็น
uncertain
การ
of
เกิดดับ
phenomena
ของ
that
เวท
happen.
นา
You
ของกาย
see
ใจ
the rise and the falling with the
บท
body
บ
and
ทสวด
mind.
7 ตำนาน
And I
อภิ
use
ธรรม
the
7 คัมภีร์
mantras 7
และมาติกาบัง
and
สุกุลมาใช้
the
ในการ
Matika
ภาวนา
Bangskun and all
ไม่
these
แน่
kind
ใจ
of
ว่าป
mantras
ฏิบัติ
as
ผิดหรือถูกอย่างไรครับ
meditation objects. I'm not sure whether I'm practiced correctly. It's too many.
เอาน้อยๆนะ
Just find something short. Have you chanting long?
เราไปพิจารณากระดูกตัวเองนะ
You can contemplate on
ตั้
your
งแต่หัวกะโหลก
bone and skeleton.
นึกไปเรื่อยๆ
Start from skull and downward.
ใจมันจะสงบกว่านี้
The mind will be more calm.
พิจารณากระดูกนะ
You can contemplate on the bones and skeleton.
ดีนะ
Good.
ถ้าสวดไปเรื่อยๆฟุ้ง
If you keep on chanting mantra, and it will
พิจารณาเข้า
become
มาในร่างกาย
scattered.
พิจารณากระดูกเข้าไป
So you can contemplate on the body,
แต่
like
หัว
bones,
เท้า
and
เท้า
keep on
หัวไล่ขึ้นไล่ลง
doing
ไป
that
เรื่อย
from bottom up or
ๆทำได้ดีอยู่
top down.
เบอร์เจ็ด
You can do it.
เบอร์ 7
Number 7,
เวลานั่งกรรมฐานทำสมาธิ
when I
พอ
practice
จิตจะสงบ
meditations, doing
รู้
sitting
สึกเหมือน
meditations,
มี
when the
เงา
mind
ด
becomes
ำ
calm,
ทำ
I
ให้จิต
could
ไม่สง
feel
บ
as if
ไม่
a
สา
shadow
มารถนั่งต่อได้
happened. So the
แม้
mind
บางวันไม่
becomes
มีเงาด
scattered and
ำ
couldn't
จะรู้สึกเสียวสันหลัง
continue
ทำให้
sitting
นั่งสมาธิ
meditation.
ต่อไม่
Even
ได้
though
อยาก
in
ได้
the
กา
middle
ร
of
นั่
the
งภาว
day
นา
there's no
แบบ
shadow,
ฝึ
but
กตนเอ
I
ง
felt frightening.
ไปเคลื่อนไหว
Can you give me meditation objects that are perfect for me?
นั่ง
Luangpu said that
เกิด
just
ง่าย
observe the movements. When you're sitting
ปกติ
meditations,
ทำ
the
งาน
vision
บ้าน
happen
ไป
very often. You can
มี
move
ส
and,
ติไป
for
เรื่อย
example, doing house chores and being
ๆ
mindful while doing
เรา
house
ต้องไป
chore.
นั่งเฉยๆ
Meditation object doesn't mean that you have to sitting
นิมิ
still
ต
all
มัน
the
เกิด
time.
เห็นโน่นนี่
Because
ได้
when you're
เคลื่
sitting,
อนไหว
you
ไป
have a lot of vision, see different things. So
แปด
instead, moving. Number 8,
เบอร์ 8 ปฏิบัติทุกวันโดยการ
I
เดิน
practice
จง
every
กรม
day
และ
by
นั่งส
walking
มาธิ
meditation
วันละ
and
1 ถึ
sitting
ง 2 ชั่ว
meditation
โม
for
ง
about 1 or 2 hours
ระห
a
ว่าง
day.
วันดูกาย
During the
เพื่อ
day,
จะ
I
เห็นว่า
observe
จิต
the
หลง
body
หรือเผลอ
so that I
คิด
could see the
เห็น
mind that
ว่าตน
wander
เอ
off
งมีมานะ
to think
มาก
about things. I
มี
could see a
โท
lot of
สะมาก
conceitedness and
หลงคิด
aversion.
บ่อย หลง
And
นาน คิดเยอะ
drift away for
ป
a long
ฏิ
period
บั
of
ติในชี
time.
วิต
I
ประ
think of
จำ
a
วั
lot
น
of
ได้ไม่
things.
ต่อเนื่อง
I
ขอ
couldn't
หลวง
be
พ่อเมตตาชี้
consistent
แนะ
with
ด้วย
Dhamma
ครับ
practice in daily life. Could you kindly
นั่
suggest?
นแหละมันก็ค่อยๆพัฒ
The
นา
Paul said that keep on continue
ตอนนี้มันก็
practicing
ดี
like
กว่าแต่
that.
ก่อนนะ
It's keep on you gaining some
หา
improvement.
ยใจ
It's
เข้า
better than last time. Do not hurry.
เบอร์ 1
Number 1,
หนีไปแล้ว
your mind wanders off.
แม้พอหนีไปเรารู้ปั๊บเรา
You
เห็
see
น
that
เลย
when you wanders off,
ใจ
you're
อึดอัด
overgassing right away or become tightened and
รู้แบบ
danced.
ธรรมดา
Just knowing in natural way, normally.
อันนี้เท่านี้นะ
That should be enough for today.